Now let's talk about the data parameters. So we utilize some parameters in our test case, but where did the parameters come from? So this is where you can basically create your data parameters. And we can also create data grid, which is going to utilize those parameters. And the grid would basically provide values that we've created in the grid during the execution time. So if I go to my data parameters, let's say we create a new parameter. Let's say this is ZS parameter. Which project do I want to utilize my parameter in? Let's say I want to utilize in ZS only. Provide some description. This is the device parameter and the values that I want to associate against this parameter. So we can individually add values as well to that parameter and then click on create. Now let's say we create another parameter so that we can create a combination during the execution time. Let's say this is ZS underscore device underscore P. Let's say the project is ZS itself. Description, and then we add the values in symbols. Let's say we add exclamation, @ hash, and then toggle. So for example, these are the values associated to our ZS device. Click on create. Now, once it is created, what you can do is that you can read it as well. So if I go to my actions, you can see we have the edit option as well as the archive option for the parameters. Click on edit. And then I can associate another project to it if required. All right. Now, once the parameters have been created, you can see that from the columns perspective, we have the parameter name, the projects it is associated to. We can also have a look at the archived parameters. We have the filters for searching for those parameters. And then in the grid view, we have the number of test cases that the parameters are getting utilized in. So right now, there is no test case utilizing these parameters. And hence you see no value here, created on and updated on. Okay. Now, if I go to the data grid, so the parameters that we created should have a data grid. Now, the data grid is what can be associated to the test cases during the execution time who are utilizing those parameters. Click on new, and you can see we can give a data grid name. Let's say this is ZS grid. Let's select the project in which we want to utilize this grid. Provide some description, and then we have the option of adding values. So for adding values to this grid, let's say we utilize our parameters. So if I just type in ZS, you can see we get the list of all the parameters. Let's say ZS parameter. I click on add column, and another parameter can be associated. And now I can go ahead and click on autofill values. When I click on autofill values, you can see we have unique values. If I click on yes, it will basically bring in the unique values associated for each row corresponding to another row parameter. If I click on autofill values and click on random data, I can go ahead and create a random data grid as well. Let's say I select 20 maximum possible values, click on yes. Now it will go ahead and create a random combination of 20 values. Okay, so this data grid, which is basically ZS parameter and ZS device parameter, if I go ahead and click on create, this data grid can be associated to the test cases which utilize both the parameters. All right.